Good morning. It is Thursday, September 21st. I got a new friend on the pod right over here. We're talking UAW whispers, EV gender gaps, and fall is somehow accident season?
Look at that. Fall is? I thought it was winter.
Hey, I guess it's not really a new friend. The crew probably knows Jordan. Been on the pod a couple times. New to ASOTU a little bit. Jordan, welcome to the Automotive Troublemaker this morning.
Well, look at this. Thanks for having me, Kyle. This is great. It's cool to be a part of the team. It's cool to be on here today and just hang out with you in the morning and to start the day off right with this community.
The people don't know this, but just before I'm gonna rat you out. I was like, hey Jordan, remember you're on the pod this morning, and he leaves for 10 minutes and comes back. The only thing that he's done is changed his shirt, and I'm like, what did you? Why have you changed your shirt?
I gotta show off the hoodie, man. Look at this. This is custom. Look at custom that long sleeve hoodie.
Ooh. Custom hoodies. Hey, speaking of custom stuff, we're doing at ASOTU CON next week. We've got a full swag bag of custom stuff, and this is like good stuff. It's not like the little trinkets and stuff that you don't want at the conference. It's a sweet bag. Foundation Direct is taking care of the scarf for you. We've got, there's a couple other people that are throwing some dope stuff in there. So leave a little room. Don't pack too tight, right? Don't, make sure you got a little room to stuff all the goodies in there. And that'll be fun. Also, Jordan, tell them about the party.
The party, the industry party we're doing Wednesday night. Everybody's invited. It's an event where we can get together, celebrate the industry, whether you're an industry partner, whether you're part of a dealership. We're going to have an awesome band there, and we're going to have, obviously, a lot of great food, like hors d'oeuvres that are being passed around. Like, come party with us. Come celebrate and, just, be the best version of us together. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. So if your flight is like at 4:00 on Wednesday, you're doing it wrong. You're going to miss Jesse Cole. You're going to miss the after party. You're going to miss 12 South Band throwing down all the tunes that you want to hang out with and just vibe with the industry. Leave out Thursday morning. There's other hotels. If you got to move hotels, leave out Thursday morning. We'll have a little coffee together and you can get on your flight and back into the stores. Also, lastly, we got the opportunity to interview Jamie Butters, the executive editor for Automotive News.
That's right.
Took a little peek behind his history in the industry, as well as talked to him a little bit about what is going on current times, what he's seeing from his vantage point, having just visibility into so much EVs, UAW strike, the whole 9 yards. So make sure Auto Collabs, it drops at 1 Eastern, I believe, today, noon Central. And you can find Auto Collabs podcast anywhere where you get your pods. I think you can just search that and it'll come up. Search engines, podcast platforms, all of that stuff.
It's there.
Speaking of search stuff coming up everywhere.
Segue.
That was a good one.
It's time for the UAW update. Jordan, do you have I don't even have the trigger pad for the UAW update.
What are we going to do?
do?
Shoot. Let's see if we can find this real fast. Keep talking.
Hold on. Yeah, we have to do the UAW update. If we can't do it, it's okay. So yesterday was with a day that didn't have a ton going on in the UAW update, but we got some there it came. But we got some good information coming across the line, a little bit disclosures. So check it out. Here's the rundown. Stellantis submitted their a new contract proposal, meaning its fifth offer has come across the line, which centered on what they're calling subcommittee open issues. This is the first new proposal from any of the automakers since the UAW began their strike last week on September 15th. UAW President Shawn Fain still threatened to escalate the strike, adding more workers to the picket lines if serious progress isn't made by the union's Friday, that's tomorrow, deadline. Additionally, GM decided to disclose some of the stuff that they had announced. So here's the details on that. They promise they're giving raises of up to 20% over the next 4 years. The top wages would reach $39.24 by 2027 for these entry line workers. They also reduced the number of years it takes for new hires to reach the top pay tier from 8 to 4. That's actually, there's an interesting commentary in the Auto Collabs podcast with Jamie, so you'll want to check that out. GM's president Mark Royce pushed back on what the company has called misinformation in an op-ed. The company reiterated that the proposal would equalize wages across roles, potentially raising base wages for 85% of GM's workforce to around $82,000 and $150,000 when factoring items like benefits and overtime. So there's no joking matter out there. He also criticized the UAW's demands, emphasizing GM's significant investments into its employees and noting that the company's financial contributions, including a net income of roughly $65 billion from 2013 to 2022. So there's a lot coming out from both sides saying, hey, look, the other side doesn't know what they're talking about. You know, it's the UAW update. You got any thoughts today, Jordan?
I got a lot of thoughts, but you know, I guess it's all about GM waited so long, and the big three really waited so long to actually get to where we're at. So Jamie Butters talked about this in the Auto Collabs episode that's releasing today. Everybody tune into that, about how really they waited to the last minute, and now they're really trying to go back and forth. So here we are. We're finally on the second pencil for the deal of the restructure. We'll see if it goes anywhere. Based off of perception, it's probably not going to end there. It's probably gonna be a third pencil, a fourth pencil, just because the UAW is pretty serious about that. And also, if they're lucky, they're really only gonna pick it in front of the ICE plants and let the EV plants like keep running production because that's very expensive,
which is wild. Yeah,
it is. And obviously, like EVs, there's a big future there, I think, for GM, and you know, we'll see where things go. You know,
there you go. Well, speaking of the future of EVs.
Stop.
Segue.
This one's interesting. A recent survey by Edmunds reveals that men are more likely to purchase EVs than women. So this is the data. With 67% of EV buyers in 2023 being men and 33% were women. The gender disparity in EV purchasing is greater than the overall U.S. car market, where 59% of buyers are men and 41% are women. So definitely leaning toward men being the EV purchasers. And here's the reasons why that were cited in the study. Why men or women are choosing certain particular vehicles. So men tend to purchase EVs driven by the novelty, excitement of owning the new technology, with brand loyalty playing a significant role. However, women prioritize practical aspects like value and range, which sounds very like exactly what I would expect, and probably like our entire generation should pay attention to practical aspects like value and range, in my opinion. The average EV price, which is close to $60,000, is also a concern, with women showing a preference toward EVs priced under $30,000, leaning towards, check this out, plug-in hybrids.
Bingo.
As a bridge between traditional and fully electric cars. Just an interesting study. Don't want to suppose too much on that.
Well, it's funny, like you can't argue with the data just because they're talking about average EV price. They're talking about which vehicles are bought by either male or female. And I think it comes down to like the bell curve distribution, because yes, do the majority of EVs cost more? Yeah, like yes. And then also, if women are so focused on the practical aspects of it, like that's why the majority of buyers for like a Spark EV or a Bolt EV or a Bolt AUV, when it was closer down to the $30,000 mark from GM, like that's why the majority of those buyers were female. And if there is a male that was really driven to buy an EV, it's probably something like the F-150 Lightning or the Silverado EV. And I mean, obviously, when you get to that price range, to that kind of vehicle, the price range is even more expensive. Like they say the Silverado EV starts at $60,000. Same thing with the F-150 Lightning when it first came out, but they're not making very many of those.
No, they're not making many, and they also have increased the price over $15,000 of both of those since they originally talked about the price. So, interesting just to see like there are multiple different versions of the adoption curve of EV.
That's right,
and we're gonna constantly see these like separate segments, whether it be gender or or income levels or areas of the country adopt them at different rates. And I think that's important to note when training like your salespeople, understanding, okay, what's the attachment to this? Where am I moving people's into vehicles? What's the education necessary? If I have someone shopping, an EV, and how do I make sure and bridge the gap to what's coming and what's available right now? So
that's right. And, even with purchasing habits, as you know, it's something crazy like 89% of purchases of vehicles still involve a female party. So even though there's 33% that are bought by men, are bought by men, it's crazy that there's still that woman influence, when it's a 2-person party, that the women still have influence in that purchase,
Yeah. And just like all my old sales managers used to say, they say the stat is 89%, but I'm going to go with 99% of all vehicle purchases are influenced by a woman, right. Which is a good thing. I think that's good. So, there's no segue. We'll just stop and go from there into this one. Hey, we're only 2 days away from the first day of fall, or one, depending on how you count your days. Known for its fall foliage and pumpkin spice, the coming season also sees the number of vehicle accidents the highest number of vehicle accidents, according to our friends at Carfax. Wild. Contrary to the common belief that winter has the most number of crashes, over 72% of U.S. drivers live in places that the states where fall contains the most crashes. While winter remains hazardous, only 23% of drivers live in states where it is the most dangerous season. Listen to the list, Jordan, of some of the states that are more hazardous in the winter than they are in the fall.
Here we go.
I'm going to give you the two that are like the easy toss-ups, and then we'll do the record scratch ones, right? Easy toss-ups, New Jersey and Vermont. Everybody's like, well, of course, they got a bunch of snow. It's going to be tough up there.
That's right.
Here it is. California.
Wow.
Florida.
Wow.
Louisiana? You mean southern states? It's worse in the fall. It's worse in the winter than the fall. Kind of crazy. I wouldn't have expected that. The only states where spring and summer were the highest number of accidents were Nebraska, Oklahoma, and New Mexico. And the study cites that the majority of the accidents that happen in the fall are because of things like slippery roads due to wet leaves, nighttime driving becoming more of a habit, and deer mating season, meaning you got more deer-related collisions.
There's more deer on the road. Who would have guessed? Now, I've been thinking about this article since we did prep before we started the show, and I'm thinking, maybe the reason that they consider it fall still is because fall technically exists until the start of winter, which, that makes sense, right? But
Fair.
What's the first day of winter?
December 22nd.
Exactly. So what I think is going on is because of the snow that happens in December, a lot of those accidents, especially in the areas that like I'm in where there's a ton of snow, like the beginning of December, there's obviously a lot of accidents that occur when those come out. People are driving slower, people slide off, people get in accidents, things like that. But really, I think that's where it comes from.
Yeah. It's almost like the change in seasons, like the sighting of more nighttime driving, like people just getting used to the change in season, having driven in like potentially better weather or anything like that, may contribute to a lot of this. But hey, maybe it's time to, gin up a little bit of collision center advertising if you've got one of those attached to it, because hey, maybe you've got a couple more cars coming in with the old deer mating season.
That's right. Sell those ancillary products too.
Gotta sell those ancillary products. Hey, that's what we got for you today. We're coming in hot. We're only 5 days from ASOTU CON. We got Jamie Butter's episode on Auto Collabs, and you're still serving customers real time in the showrooms. Let's go.
Go get it.